Today, we're teaching stormtroopers how to shoot straight. No, that won't work. Okay guys, today I want to show you the HENSOLDT ZIEL DIALYT scope. This was a World War I sniper scope made by the HENSOLDT company, and it made its way onto the DL44 original trilogy Han Solo blaster that we're all familiar with. It is a super nice, super intricate, highly detailed scope, and I wanted to show you the bits and pieces and some variations of it, and what I've done to recreate it. And I've got Fireball here, who I'm going to get her to do the assembly on the two versions we make. I've got an aluminum version and I make the steel version. The steel one, I call it my elite version because it's got a few more pieces, and the way it assembles is a little bit different than the basic. But outwardly, they have, you know, all the details that you'll find in the vintage scope. So a couple things to note in the build, and was really cool about this scope, is the bead knurling on the adjustment knob. And you see there's several versions of this, and they all have this really cool bead knurling, and we'll try to do some close-up pictures of that. And obviously the engraving of the HENSOLDT logo. And if you find, lucky enough to find a variant, which, you know, a couple of the builders out there, Scott and them, pointed out that it also has this other engraving on the other side. This is actually probably the best variant that I have, you know, out of these. It's the most accurate. There seems to be a zillion versions of it. Well, we'll get started here, putting one together. Oh yeah, also I want to show you the tool that I actually had to make, or have made, to knurl the bead knurling. And this is a tool that I use in the CNC lathe, and the actual cutting wheel here had to be had the little circles cut into it so that I could reproduce the knurling on that, which was a good bit of work. It's not something you could just do, you know, out of a catalog, you know, tool part. So I had to make that custom. But that's one of the coolest features about this scope. I guess the Germans were well known for doing some pretty different knurling than we're used to. So also, you can see on these there's some little tiny screws, and you can see the engravings that are on these, the HENSOLDT ZIEL DIALYT engraving, which is very important. It actually shows up on the prop. That's actually been reproduced on the replicas and the screws, and the assembly screws for the adjustment knob. They're super cool, and they're not something that you can just buy off the shelf somewhere. I actually had to have them made. There's a screw machine place that actually specializes in that, and I had to draw them up and copy them. But you can see these are tiny little guys. I guess this would be kind of a pan head, and then the one that holds the whole assembly together, this little cheese head screw, and there's two down here that actually hold the saddle on. And but when you get the kit, whether you get the elite kit or you get just the basic kit, they both have these. Okay, so you've got all that detail. You've got the bead knurling pieces, and I'll go ahead and dump this out and show you too. This is so you can kind of see the parts next to the vintage parts here, and the screws, and the wave spring. Give a little tension when you turn it. So that's a detail that's on both of them. The difference between the Elite and the aluminum scope is how the lenses go in. I wanted to do a little less expensive version on the aluminum. This comes pre-anodized black, and the lens parts are a little bit different than the vintage one, but that part doesn't show. they basically just press in, or you just glue them in when you're ready, and you know, makes a little cheaper version to build. The Elite version is like the vintage one here. It's going to have this little stack of lenses and the front bezel piece, front and back, and they'll both screw in. Now I have two versions of the Elite. One of them's pre-blued, you know, for the guys that don't want to blue something, but you can also get it in raw steel and blue it yourself. And you can see, got the engravings, and even have the engravings that most people don't know about. I only have one scope variant that actually has this, which is super cool. And I don't know how long we've known about from the original picture, you know, that was even on there, but that's a super cool little feature there. And you can also see the little micro screw there. These things are really a pain in the butt to put in, but you know, you'll enjoy that. And next I was going to show you how both of these actually go together, and I'm going to turn that over to Fireball here, because she ends up doing a lot of the pre-assembly on this one before you get it, but still I'll let her put that together for you. And I'll make a special note here that if you've seen another video about the tools you need, well, in this video, the tools you need, it's really handy to have a set of screwdrivers, which you're going to need your small flathead screwdriver. You're going to need an X-Acto knife, and you're going to need some type of glue. I just recently found this glue, and I have put it on the website, and it's useful for more builds than this, because I know we put lenses in a lot of replica scopes, and if you use super glue, I'm sure everybody out there's hazed up a bunch of lenses trying to super glue something in, or using various other glues. But this right here is a jeweler's glue. It's made for, I think, watchmakers and stuff, but this stuff is super nice for putting lenses in and securing them, because it dries absolutely clear and it does not haze anything. So you can, you know, you just use it and not worry about it. But it's on the website too. So first of all, I think we'll start off putting the adjustment on a steel scope, so that you can see how that assembly goes together. And for that, I guess I like to use a piece of clay. It really helps. I've done this in some other videos if you've been watching, but it really helps to kind of secure what you're doing, so you don't have to chase it all over the mat here. So first things first, I guess the saddle piece will go on, and there's the two smaller screws, or the two larger pan heads actually secure it. So have at it there, Fireball.
I don't like your screwdriver.
Yeah, actually she's got a really nice set of screwdrivers at her desk, so beautiful, nothing to it. Small fingers, those little fiddly screws. Yeah, next you've got the main, the bigger piece here, and actually on the real scope there's actually a wave spring underneath it, and we've got one here, and you just sandwich those together, lay it on there, line it up. Yep, and then the cheese head screw, the bigger one that secures that assembly. Yep, next the smaller, thinner dial piece on the scope here is another adjustment. And it also has the real one has a little pin, so that, you know, it stops on each side of the adjustment. And this one has it in there too. Little centerpiece. This one's always the hardest for me to do. Is you've got to line up two screws and keep them centered. It wants to kind of move around a little bit on you. Helps have smaller fingers. Now we got range of motion there, and you see the little numbers engraved there. And now, next part here, we'll do the two different lens assemblies, one for the basic and one for the elite. Fireball will show, let's do the simple one first. First thing, you're going to want to put your sticker on your lens. I like to put it on the back of the concave piece, okay? That way, when it's facing out, it kind of gives it some dimensions. Looks like it's actually painted in there. Now the trick too is to not get your fingerprints on the lens or on the back of the sticky on the sticker there, so because that'll actually show up. Then, as you can see, she's trimming the edges of the sticker with an X-Acto knife, and just shave it off there without cutting any vital bodily parts off. Yeah, you'll learn real quick using X-Acto knives. Always cut away from you. Never cut back toward anything that you don't want cut. There you go. Just pop that in there. And this is the part too where you want to make sure before you go any further you've wiped any fingerprints off of this too, because you'll see them. Just, yeah, there you go. Just wipe it off on your shirt. Okay. Next, you want to, there's a little ring, a little Delrin ring we use to secure it. And that just pops in there. Now next, you know, if this is permanent, you're going to want to glue it in place, because it, you know, once you put these in your scope, you don't want them falling out. So that's where the glue I was talking about comes into play. And just put a little bit of glue around that, let it dry. That way, you know, it's all secured. And the same thing goes, you can put the small end together too. It just drops together. Lens goes in first, concave out, and it has a little ring too. Wipe fingerprints off. Same deal with this. You know, once you get the little retaining ring in there, glue it in place. And once that's done and dry, all you have to do then is, I'll take some epoxy or rubber cement or whatever you personally like, put inside here, and then these press in. Make sure you line up your sticker. Now the lenses will probably fall out on this one. That hadn't been secured, but you just press these together, and then voila, you got the basic scopes built. Now on the basic, you don't have the one detail the elite has that the basic doesn't. I have some spots here to simulate where the little small screws are that are in these. You can see them right here, a couple on the bottom, and these actually get covered up by the scope mount. You know, you won't see them anyway, but on the elite scope, these holes are here, and the little teeny tiny micro super small screws here are you can thread them in, but you almost just press them in. You might want to secure them with a little glue, but you don't have to. There again, the scope clamp on the blaster is actually going to cover them up anyway. But that's something that's on the elite that's not on the basic. Now, okay, next thing, I guess we'll do a lens assembly for the elite scope, and the difference is it's a little bigger front piece, and it's going to screw in the same way it does on the real actual vintage scope. And I've got there's actually a really nice stack of lenses in this thing, and they're super high tech. I always wished I could reproduce those, but it's just too expensive and make this thing a $2,000 scope. It's not as easy as you think it would be. But on the kit, you're going to get a front concave lens and a rear flat lens to simulate this effect. And on this one, don't put the sticker on the front lens, put it on the rear lens, and it really gives it a nice dimension. I'll let you do that, Fireball. There you go. And when you do it, if you push in the center of the sticker and work your way out, she does it so fast. She's done so many of them, but you work your way out. That way you don't leave any air bubbles in the sticker, and it's all nice and flat. And that sticker was actually pre-cut out. So it drops in first from the front. So like it would go in this way. And then there is a brass spacer. The concave lens, which you want the concave up. And then you got the front, you see this front bezel, even got the little cuts in it like the real one has. And that locks it down. Now, I won't do this in the video, it takes a little time, but what you're gonna wanna do now is actually screw it in the scope and maybe mark the top, because that back sticker, you're gonna wanna orient it to where when you screw this whole assembly in the front, that your sticker is actually, you know, lined up right. But you can do that on your own. But next, this thing just screws right in the front, just like the real one. You can see that. Get you some brass black and black out some of these real brass parts here. Okay, next thing, almost done with this one, is the small lens side. You can see this little guy here. He's got the little cuts for, probably had they probably had a tool for mounting this, and we've got those reproduced there. Same bevel in the front. There you go. Oops. This one goes in really simple. Yep. Concave out there again, and this is where you're going to want this type of glue or something that won't haze the lenses, because you're just going to go around the outside and glue it in real simple. Okay, and same deal, this is going to screw in the back and you're done. Now when you're finishing these, you might want to get some aluminum black or something similar to darken up some of this. This brass looks kind of old, and the inner rings are black, just like this. So if you really want to make it super accurate, you're going to want to black out, you know, some of this brass stuff. You know, even there's other videos I've done on bluing, but you're going to want to blue this too. And you can see this is a replica. This is the replica here, and you know, check that out. I mean, once you blue it, you know, it looks like the real thing. I mean, it's super nice. So, well, I hope everybody enjoyed this, and until next time,